may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Like I said yesterday, y'all know that usually we just stick it to fantasy football. I know that y'all really don't care much outside of that, but I owe some people some massive thank yous. Okay, so y'all know that I am kind of at a crossroads in my life right now, graduating from the University of Texas with a couple degrees. I didn't know if we were going to go to graduate school or maybe pursue this fantasy gig full time. And with all the support that we've had on Patreon over the past few months, really just skyrocketing, that has made this decision so much easier, where we are going to pursue this. We are going to go after our dreams, trying to make this a full-time gig. So I want to give everybody a big thank you who's allowed me to do this. Even if you're unable to support the show on Patreon, you're still supporting the show by dropping likes, leaving comments, being subscribed to the channel. This is what we talk about all the time. So everybody watching this video right now, even if it's your first time watching, I owe you a big time thank you for helping us go through this journey, helping support us, regardless of how you are doing that. I really owe you a big time thank you. But that's it. Actually, a quick side note, please guys, with everybody that has signed up for Patreon as of late, I know that we are trying to do as much as I can for y'all. That includes us making that Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide that will be available by the end of the month. And as well, we are going to be trying to get some Patreon goals set, where maybe if we hit 400 people on Patreon, maybe if we hit 500 people, we start to do some crazy things. This can be anything from do an AMA live with my girlfriend. Y'all can ask her questions. I don't know. Maybe I go get a tattoo. Whatever y'all think it is, please go down to the comment section. Give me some ideas, because I have no idea what y'all would want to see, but please, please, please let me know. Okay. So that's it. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about our top 5 running backs that are ranked over on Patreon. Of course, you can find the full list of rankings there, especially with how these running backs stack up to the wide receivers, stack up to the quarterbacks in Superflex, stack up to the tight ends in Tight End Premium. But regardless, we're just going to be going over the top 5 right now. The guys that I think are going to make the most impact year one, guys that I think project the best for the foreseeable future. And our first player on this list is going to be Najee Harris. So yeah, I have to admit, Najee Harris was my running back 2 coming into the NFL draft. This is already something that we talked about, and I know that y'all hate me saying this, but if we were going to be talking Najee Harris, we have to go through the prospect profile yet again for about the millionth time this offseason. But with Najee Harris, guys, he looks like a workhorse running back. He looks like he can be someone coming in, getting 25, 30 touches in a single game. It looks like he can be what James Robinson was last year, except for a better team, except for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now, yes, y'all know I have already said that this Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line is nothing close to what it was back in the Le'Veon Bell days. You're not going to be expecting Najee Harris to step in and, even with the workload, be a top 5 running back in fantasy like you did way back with Le'Veon Bell, even with James Conner in that magical year, or even if you just go back to the Le'Veon Bell years where Le'Veon would get hurt, maybe he would get suspended for a small amount of time, then D'Angelo Williams would come in and you would automatically expect him to be a top 10 running back in fantasy just because this overall offense was elite. You had an elite offensive line. Ben Roethlisberger had an extremely high average depth of target with Antonio Brown stretching the field. So there was so much space, and the lanes to run through were so open for those running backs that it was quite possibly the best situation in all of football for a starting running back. Now, Najee Harris not going into that same situation. This is a downgraded offensive line compared to what it once was. And obviously, Ben Roethlisberger isn't close to being the same quarterback. I mean, if you look at his actual arm strength and what his average depth of target has done over the past few seasons, I mean, it has kind of cratered where maybe Najee Harris is going to go up against a few more stacked boxes. And if he's going up against stacked boxes with a slightly worse offensive line, you're not going to be expecting nearly the same amount of efficiency that you saw way back in those magical years with Le'Veon Bell. But it doesn't matter, because what we talk about all the time in fantasy, and James Robinson is the perfect example of this from 2020, is that volume is king. You go for volume. If efficiency comes, that's how you get that spike, and that's how you get that elite ceiling. So even if you can't project the efficiency for Najee Harris to have that elite ceiling to be a top 3 running back overall in fantasy, at the very minimum, the volume is going to be there. So it doesn't matter how bad the efficiency may be, because if the volume's there, Najee Harris is going to have a floor to be a mid running back 2. And even if the efficiency can't reach those elite levels, if maybe he breaks away a few long runs, if maybe he just has a few open lanes where you can see some chunk plays, Najee Harris can work his way up to being a mid running back 1. I mean, I think that based on what we had coming into the NFL draft, this is best case scenario. Not only does he find a situation where he's going to be a 3-down bell cow, and also I want to say Najee Harris, a great receiving running back, not just a capable one. I actually think by looking into the numbers, by looking at the amount of receiving yards that he accounted for at Alabama compared to the overall passing offense, you can say that Najee Harris is a far above average receiving running back that, I mean, he comes away as a winner. He has the first round draft capital. He has the size to be a 3-down guy. He has the receiving down capabilities. Now, the one red flag I really want to look at, actually, there are 2 red flags. A, you have the age for him coming into the NFL at an age where you really don't see that many successful running backs, 23 years old. By the time you're usually at that age, you've already been in the NFL for 2 seasons. You've already been dominant if you're a player like Jonathan Taylor. But I think you can maybe overlook that because he was at Alabama. And then also, I do question the top-end speed. I do question the fact that we know he's not a Jonathan Taylor. We know he's not a Saquon Barkley type level athlete. Now, I am a little bit worried that he's a little closer to a guy like David Montgomery in that respect. But even if you took David Montgomery and made him a better pass-catching running back and put him in a better situation, that would still be a great fantasy option. So I don't mean that as a giant insult to Najee Harris, but I just want everybody to be a little bit realistic here. Okay, so now I know that is the easy ranking. Going down to the running back 2, that's where it's going to get a little difficult. And here we are going to surprise a lot of people by having Travis Etienne still as our running back 2 over Javonte Williams, even with Travis Etienne going and playing alongside James Robinson. And I know, guys, that you had Urban Meyer coming out and saying that, hey, Travis Etienne is our 3rd down running back. Travis Etienne is going to be that scat back that is mainly in there on passing down situations. And while that is great in theory, while of course the coach is going to say that, I talk about this all the time. I talk about it does not matter what the coach says. The coach has to say things to the public to make sure that the fans are happy, to make sure that the current veterans on the team are happy. He can't upset anyone. So it's kind of like a politician going up there where he says something, and to be honest, it doesn't mean anything. Literally, words don't mean anything. Doesn't matter if it's a politician. Doesn't matter if it's a head coach. They are essentially the same thing. What matters is actions. And what Jacksonville did is they went out there and took Travis Etienne in the first round of the NFL draft when they had that first pick in the 2nd round. They had the capability of waiting to possibly go, hey, maybe Travis Etienne makes it there. Maybe we just view him as the best player available and we can try to get him at a value. We don't really need a running back that bad, so we can't afford to wait. But no, they didn't think that. They went, okay, Travis Etienne is there. Let's go get the starting running back to be alongside Trevor Lawrence. So trust me, guys, I know James Robinson was fantastic in 2020. James Robinson was such a good running back. But at the running back position, what everything comes down to essentially is opportunity. It's very different from the wide receiver position, where at the wide receiver position, a guy like, just say, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they're both going to be on the field together at the same time. So talent there matters a lot. It matters a ton with who is going to get targeted, and it depends on who is going to get open. But no, at the running back position, that is not the case. The running back position is solely dictated on who is going to get the opportunity and then who is going to be efficient when they do get that opportunity. And I think that Travis Etienne comes in. He is the not bell cow running back in Jacksonville, but he definitely handles the majority of the workload there with James Robinson coming in and spelling him. And yes, guys, I love James Robinson, but we have to be realistic here. We have to look at this situation objectively. James Robinson, an undrafted free agent that this coaching staff has no ties to. Travis Etienne, a first-round pick that they better make sure succeeds, because this pick is going to look disgusting if they go through. And what if they do truly use Travis Etienne as a 3rd down running back? Put you in the shoes of Urban Meyer. I mean, can you imagine what the fan base is going to be saying if they go and they spend a 1st-round pick on a running back that only sees 12 touches a game? They are going to be irate. They're going to go, we had James Robinson all along. You wasted a 1st-round pick. Why did you do that? No, what they're going to do is they're going to go, hey, we got to prove this pick. Let's go give Travis Etienne his touches. It's a 1st-round drafted running back. This is higher than Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire all went in the draft last year. Please pay attention to team actions and not coach speak. Okay, so now our next player, obviously Javonte Williams here. And what you love to see with Javonte Williams is not only does he get drafted at the top end of the 2nd round by the Denver Broncos, but more importantly, the Denver Broncos trade up to get Javonte Williams. And here I'll say there is a very easy way that Javonte Williams jumps up over Travis Etienne to be the running back 2. And that would be if Denver trades for either Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love. Because right now the problem with Javonte Williams is he looks like he's probably going to be playing in a very inefficient offense led at quarterback by either Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. And when that's the case, even if you are a workhorse running back, if the offense is going to be Jacksonville Jaguars level bad from 2020, then you have concerns. And that's why I am willing to rank Travis Etienne currently higher than Javonte Williams, because we go, okay, Javonte probably going to be in a committee to start the year with Melvin Gordon. I don't think it's going to finish that way, but at the very least, you can see Melvin Gordon getting a significant amount of touches for the first few weeks. Then after that, yeah, Javonte can become a player that's seeing a significant amount of targets. But if you're expecting that Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback, how many red zone attempts is Javonte Williams going to get? How many sustained drives are the Denver Broncos going to have? The answer to that is very few. So I think if you do indeed have Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love going to Denver, which is honestly very possible because you saw this team decide to pass up on Justin Fields with their first round pick, I honestly think that there is no way they would have done that unless they thought that they had a solidified answer at quarterback, unless that they thought that they were going to be able to get one through trade. So Javonte Williams currently our running back 3, but could easily jump up to be running back 2. Okay, so now let's go over to our running back 4, and yeah, this is going to be very obvious. Literally, you can't make an argument for anybody else here. It's going to be Trey Sermon for the 49ers. Okay, so here Trey Sermon goes to one of the best situations in football for a running back. Obviously, this is a depth chart that you don't have too much competition on. I mean, I think we can safely say that a Raheem Mostert as well as a Jeff Wilson Jr., they are definitely worse running backs than possibly a Melvin Gordon, possibly a James Robinson. Trey Sermon should come in, and he should have the potential to win this starting job. Now, if you look at his draft capital, it does not automatically mean that he is going to get that starting job. So I think with Trey Sermon, you're going to see a little bit of a different situation. I think Trey Sermon is going to be a lot like J.K. Dobbins from his rookie season, where yes, you're going to see flashes. You're going to see Trey Sermon randomly pop off for 2 rushing touchdowns in 2021 in a random week, just call it week 3. And then you may not hear from Trey Sermon for a few more weeks. But by the time we get to the end of the season, especially if you see a Raheem Mostert or a Jeff Wilson Jr. injury, or if you see either running back be very disappointing with their overall efficiency and Trey Sermon impresses in his limited touches, then I think Trey Sermon has to rise. And I think that you could end up having Trey Sermon as a high-end running back 2 for fantasy as early as 2021. Now, there is one thing I want to point out, and it's the fact that Trey Sermon isn't a great pass-catching running back, yet I don't think it matters too much because when you're playing alongside Trey Lance, you don't need to be an elite pass-catching running back because Trey Lance isn't really going to be looking to dump the ball off anyway. He's mainly going to be looking to throw the ball aggressively downfield or run it himself. So I think instead you want the running back that's the first and second down guy in San Francisco. And I think that's going to be Trey Sermon. You have to be very excited about this. And they traded up for him, guys. So when you trade up for a player, you have plans for them. You're not just going, okay, I guess he fell here. I guess we take him. He's the highest graded prospect on our board. No, they go, okay, he's been the highest graded prospect on our board for the past 10 picks. We need this guy. He's going to fit in our system right away. This is how we're going to use him. Let's go out there and let's actually pursue him. Okay, so now our last running back coming in here at running back 5 is going to be in a big tier with all of our other players. But if we're talking about just 2021, this may look a little bit different than our overall dynasty rankings that you'd find on Patreon. But if we were talking about just 2021, we are going to be having Michael Carter Jr. here, who lands in also another great spot in New York. And we talked about this in the video yesterday, where I know a lot of people are going to be getting excited about this New York Jets landing spot. I understand that a lot of people are going to be looking at Michael Carter Jr. and going, hey, he's going to be a starting running back right away. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And I'm hesitant to say that because we go, okay, he's a 4th round pick. If you look historically, 4th round picks, really, they have to win the starting job. They have no rights to go in there and just demand it. And if you look at Tevin Coleman, if you look at LaMichael Pirine, I think that actually both of those running backs may have a higher ceiling than Michael Carter Jr. if you look at their overall athletic profile. Yet Michael Carter Jr. definitely going to have a high floor given the fact that he is a good receiving running back coming out of the backfield. So if we are talking just 2021 fantasy impact, I think Michael Carter Jr. is going to come here at 5. But if you look at our overall dynasty rankings over on Patreon, you may find something different once you get past those top 4 guys. But of course, over there, we go a lot deeper than just 5 running backs. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. And these rankings are subject to change. I will definitely say that. I will keep y'all updated throughout the course of the offseason. And of course, over on Patreon, we go a lot deeper than just these 5 running backs. We also compare them to wide receivers, compare them to tight ends, compare them to quarterbacks and Superflex formats. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what y'all think about these rankings. Go roast me in the comment section below. And I will see y'all with the video. Maybe not tomorrow, but hopefully sometime soon. I want to give a big thank you for everyone supporting the show in Benjamin, Bill, Jason, Matthew, Hutton, Sean, Freddie's Berto, Andy, Frederick, and Chris.